I still had dozens of tasks waiting to be handled. But the rich second-gen chairman suddenly called me to the archery range. I thought it must be something urgent, but it turned out the staff didn't show up for work that day, so he called me over just to pull arrows for him when I told him the company had important matters and not to waste my time. He was clearly unhappy. He scolded me for thinking that just because I'd achieved something at work, I no longer had to follow his orders to make me recognize my place. He demanded that I kneel and bark like a dog to apologize. Years ago, after a car accident, the old chairman had rescued me from the scene. To repay that kindness, I joined the company as president and promised him I would lead the group to become the #1 chip company in New York. Now there were only 3 days left before I would fulfill that promise, and then I could leave the company for good. But until then, I had no choice but to swallow my pride and kneel, yet even that didn't satisfy the second gen. He then told me to balance a water bottle on my head and act as a live target for their entertainment. Just then, the old chairman suddenly called asking why both of us weren't present at the press conference, but the second gen claimed he didn't know where I was, saying I was probably off slacking somewhere. But the old chairman knew me well and believed I must have had a valid reason for being absent. He then scolded the second gen, telling him to learn from me and stop playing around. The more his father praised me, the more resentful he became. He never thought I was anything special. He believed if he ran the company, he could bring it to where it is today too. The next day, he barged into the company's conference room with a few friends, determined to exercise his power as chairman, seeing us discussing the core strategy for a new product behind closed doors. He thought I was deliberately excluding him. He even accused me of using the RD plan as a cover to win over the tech department and seize power while the old chairman was away. Hearing him slander me like that, the employees couldn't stay silent anymore. They stood up and defended me, but this only made him more annoyed. So he tore up the detailed project plan I had worked so hard on. I told him doing this would destroy everything the group had built over the years, but he thought I was just trying to scare him. He believed I was only trying to prove I was more fit to be chairman, so he demoted me to a menial position. From that day on, I was only allowed to serve tea and pour water and banned from any involvement in ARD. But later that day, I received a message from the old chairman. He apologized on behalf of his immature son, saying he had already taught him a lesson and asked me not to hold a grudge. He then said at the banquet 2 days later, many important clients would be present, and he hoped I could attend to help the company secure some key orders out of respect for the old chairman's apology. I agreed to help one last time. 2 days later, I attended the company banquet, dressed formally, but just as I was delivering a speech on stage, the second gen walked into the venue and slapped me hard without warning. His friends immediately pulled out their phones, trying to capture the moment of my humiliation. Seeing this, the clients at the event quickly came to my defense. But the second gen arrogantly declared this was their family's banquet, and no one had the right to interfere. If he wanted to discipline an employee, just then, a mysterious man suddenly appeared at the banquet,